Hi, this is a lesson on applying caged shapes. The first thing that I did for this lesson is I grabbed a bunch of images from the internet on CAGED. And if you can see here, these diagrams all show the same thing. And the ones at the bottom show the fretboard a little bit more and how the cage shapes all interconnect. But they're pretty much all different ways of displaying the same information, which is the caged shapes, C, A, G, E, and D chords. So take your pick of whatever information makes most sense to you and go with that. And the important thing to note with caged shapes or caged chords is that they are all movable. So we start out with our C chord, and if you replace the ring finger with your pinky finger instead, you can play the C chord another way, and then this fingering allows you to move up. So this is a D. So as you can see, we were able to move the shape around the fretboard. And all the shapes you can do that. So moving on to A, if we play our standard A chord with the index finger, now if we replace it with our pinky finger, we're able to slide up. So this is a B, C, and a D. But we're using the same shape, and you can also play this A shape, by the way, with your ring finger instead of your pinky finger. Either one is fine. But this is a bar chord, and it's a movable shape. And all these cage shapes are movable. So the next chord that we're going to go on to is the G chord. However you play the G chord. Again, use your pinky finger and slide it up. So G, A, B, C. So you can see it retains the shape of the G chord, and it just slides across the fretboard. Moving on to E, if we again use our pinky, we can play the same chord, E chord, and again we can slide that up. So this is the F sharp, G sharp, slidable bar chord known as the E shape. And the reason it's known as the E shape is, again, because it comes from the shape of the initial first position E chord. And it's actually one of the more, I found at least anyways, is one of the more useful bar chords. So if you don't already know how to form a bar chord, that's another lesson that we can work in. And the last shape is D. And if you just play the first three strings, you can just slide those up. I think a lot of times the fingering will show alternative fingerings. The middle finger and the ring finger, either one can be used. to use my pinky here. I think this is F sharp. It's the same as if you were to play a D over like an F sharp in the bass, which is a chord I love. So this particular D chord, it can also be extended. So now you see I'm playing the D chord again. Playing the D chord, but I'm using the C shape instead here. So see, that's a C shape. If I slide it down, it makes a C. So that's just like an example of how shapes are all slidable across the fretboard, and it's useful to improve on guitar instead of just always playing in first position, which I'm most comfortable at first position, but the goal is for anybody, including myself, to get more comfortable playing anywhere, and CAGED is one way to do that. Let's see, all right, so we're going to move on. So how do we apply this? So we have our knowledge of these shapes, right? And we want to use them, and so what I decided to do is, all right, I picked a song that I liked, which is "This Land Is Your Land" by Woody Guthrie, which I think is a beautiful song, and I decided to do it in the key of G, because the key of G is probably one of the most common keys on guitar, and if you look at this cool chart here, it shows you G, C, and D. So this is a circle of fifths diagram, which is a useful diagram for keys. And if the yellow bar to the left shows you a C, and then the yellow bar to the right shows you a D. So these are the fourth and the fifth, and the G is the root. And the reason that's important is because first, fourths, and fifths in music are key to a lot of songs. A lot of popular songs are some of the most commonly used chords and intervals, and so it's important to get like a good command of first, fourths, and fifths, which is another reason why I picked this song, because it has first, fourths, and fifths in it, and it's "This land is your land, this land is my land." And another way of showing first, fourths, and fifths is, if you just play a major scale, this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So you can see that this is the fourth of the scale, and this is the fifth. And what are these notes? G, C, and D. So that's probably useful. Okay, so what I want to get at this song has G as the root note. This land is your land. C is the fourth. It's the fourth chord. This land is my land. Back to the root note. From California, the fifth. D to the New York Island. Back to one, the root. From the redwood forest, the fourth, to the Gulf Stream waters. Back to first. This land was made for you and me. Root one. So it's all 1, 4s, and 5s. And what we're going to be doing with this CAGED diagrams that we looked at is we're going to be playing starting out with the same G chord. So we're always playing a G chord, but we're going to be playing it across different parts of the neck using different shapes to play that to play that G chord using different shapes. So it allows us to kind of produce slightly different sounding chords because they use different different interval patterns. Like a major chord is 1, 3s, and 5s. So for example, like this is 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 1 in your G chord. So if you were to play it here, it's it's slightly different. So here the root is duplicated, right? So so one reason for doing this is that it can get you can use the same chords but play them in different parts and it can sound slightly different. Another reason for doing this is just to get more comfortable playing at different positions on the fretboard, because then eventually you incorporate in scales or different what's the word I'm looking for, improvisations around that particular chord or chord progression that you're playing. Okay, so to just give you an overview of what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run through the song using the chorus first, which is I'm going to use the G form on the 3rd fret, and then I'm going to do the first verse in the E form on the 3rd fret, and then verse 2, I'm going to use the D form on the 5th fret, and verse 3, I'm going to use C form, and as you can see this is the C shape, right? And if you notice, it shared from the previous shape that we used. It shared some of the same notes. So that's the important thing with CAGED. That's why it shows that the notes overlap, because they are the same notes. All right, so then we're going to move on, and we're going to create an A shape on the 10th fret. And then you can create, using the same notes, you can create a G shape on the 15th fret. But for me, this is kind of hard to play, so I usually just do this G shape, which, since it's an open position in G, it shares some of the same notes, so it's, I don't know, it sounds cooler in my opinion. And then E, and we all remember E. There's E down here. But again, so this is a G right here that we're playing, right? So we're, yeah, just making sure. So again, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be playing the same chord progression, the song C, G, C, G, C, G, D, G, G, C, G, D, D, G. So 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. Throughout, but in just different areas of the guitar. So that's why I want you to. Well, this is more of an intermediate lesson, by the way. Just keep that in mind too. But anyway, so now I'm going to run through the song. So.
This land
The third verse uses a C form. When the sun came shine, when the sun came, C shining, I was a strong G, and the wheat fields waiting, and the grass clouds rolling. A voice was chanting as the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. Verse 4, using the A form. As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and on the sign it said no trespassing, but on the other side it didn't say nothing. That sign was made for you and me. Verse 5. This time we're using the G form. In the squares of the city, in the shadow of the people, by the relief often I've seen my people as they stood there hungry. I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me? So if you notice in that verse, I was using all the same chord shapes as actually first position, just moving them much higher up the neck, and it sounded okay. So verse 6 is the E shape. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. So you can use these shapes and chords and to help move around the fretboard and like improvise with the song more. So I'm going to go back to the first position. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. Yeah, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that song. And so you would actually break down this into separate lessons to show chord shapes. And there's also sevenths in this song, which is you could do a whole separate lesson on showing how seventh chords work, and they're basically 1, 3, 5, and the 7, and it's a dominant chord. But anyway, so hopefully this lesson was on CAGED shapes, and applying them to an actual song, and I hope that was helpful. Thank you, and have a great day.